eating almond croissants. That same carefree feeling washed over her every time she entered the Little Brunswick Street Bookshop. She loved watching people from the inside out, like a backwards kaleidoscope of literature lovers gazing into their beautiful front windows from vibrant Brunswick Street. She loved being surrounded by powerful women such as Angelou, Atwood and Adichie, and most of all, she loved working with Kat. Kat's husband, Claude, had inherited the Little Brunswick Street Bookshop from his grandparents, and when he, an accountant at a small city law firm who maintained long hours and an intense knitting hobby, was unsure how he would juggle a second job, Kat had the genius idea of selling the books in the front, while he occasionally managed the books from the back. And when Kat offered Frankie a job, it didn't take long for her to say yes, yes, yes. Since the days spent penning love letters to Mr. Darcy instead of practicing algebra and Year 8 maths, their bond had endured, even though Kat, pregnant with her first child, now spent Saturday nights watching reruns of the National Knitting Evening on Netflix with Claude, and Frankie, pregnant with last night's pizza, spent hers on awful first dates. And now, with their days spent surrounded by, discussing and reading books, and of course appraising everyone else based on their book choices, Kat and Frankie were closer than Horatio and Hamlet. Frankie wound her way through the shelves and unceremoniously flung her bag beneath the front counter. She cranked on the air conditioning, sank into the seat behind the register, placed her feet up on the counter, and returned to her worn copy of Emma. She had just turned the page when the front door chimed open and Kat marched into the store. Her red frizzy hair was everywhere, sweat dripped down her face, and she wore a hot pink knitted top, black lycra pants, and bright orange sneakers. "Catherine?" Frankie nodded from behind her book. "Frankston?" Kat nodded back. She joined Frankie behind the counter, grabbed her copy of Jasper Jones, and propped her feet up next to Frankie's. "What's with the sweat?" Frankie asked. "I had another K-pop dance class this morning, which was amazing, by the way, but the showers are broken and I couldn't be bothered walking home to change and then coming all the way back here. So I thought if I just stood outside for a while, I would dry it, but I forgot that it's going to be 32 freaking degrees today. Plus, these knits Claude keeps making me do nothing for sweat absorption. Look at me dripping. I'm like an ice cream." Kat grabbed Frankie and tried to pull her head into her sweaty chest. If Frankie was the queen of dating, Kat was the queen of exercise classes. From bar to one very confronting summer of pole dancing, Kat became obsessed and then unobsessed with every sort of exercise and health kick imaginable before dropping it like Marius drops Eponine. It all started a few summers ago, and at first, Frankie thought the fixation on fitness was simply Kat wanting to be healthier and more toned. But lately, she had wondered whether it tapped into a deeper insecurity. Kat used to relish watching heads turn at her overly attractive husband, but was she starting to feel overlooked? "What are you up to?" Kat asked, glancing at Frankie's battered book. "Almost at the proposal," Frankie gushed. "Aren't you sick of reading the same books over and over?" "You're reading Jasper Jones for the 4th time," Frankie countered. Kat spread her arms as if to say, "Touché." "So, something pretty weird happened at K-pop today." "Oh?" Frankie asked. The front door opened, halting their conversation. Frankie and Kat shut their books, dropped their feet to the floor and looked up, alert. A stout, slightly balding man walked in. "Sci-fi," hissed Kat. "Law biography," spat Frankie. The man, red in the face, smiled at Frankie and Kat. They smiled back sweetly and asked if he needed any assistance. He shook his head and then proceeded to walk excruciatingly slowly around the bookstore, scratching his head, not touching anything. The women stared at him, examining his every step. "Just make your move," Kat whispered at him. "He's about to pounce," hissed Frankie. After what seemed an age, the man stopped in the science fiction section and grabbed 2 Stephen King novels, placing one swiftly under each armpit. "Damn it! Shirt but no tie. Dead giveaway," Frankie said, disappointed. "Pay up, Frankston." Kat held her hand out in front of Frankie's nose, wiggling her fingers in anticipation. Frankie slowly dragged a $5 note out of a wallet.